Welcome to another episode of Out of Spec Dave, where here I am down in Florida on Marco Island. And Kathy and I, we drove down straight, 27 hours, didn't stop except for charging. And we tried to get a hotel in the middle of the night, like 2 in the morning, somewhere in Virginia. And all the hotels said, no pets allowed. What's with that? So, or they were just completely booked. And I was feeling so psyched and good. I just said, you know what? I'm going to push through it. I got myself a giant Red Bull and just hunkered down and pushed it all the way here. When I was in Gainesville charging last night, that was kind of a mess. There was a 10-minute wait. I know a lot of you people are like, no big deal. 10 minutes is not a long time to wait. But, it got a little bit crazy there in terms of who was up next, and people were arriving as I was charging. To think that Tesla can't solve an issue that I'm calling, or that we call queuing, is ridiculous to me. And I want to talk about it in this video. Tesla, you got something to do? I think you could bang it out real easily. Maybe EA, you could do it as well. But I'm going to start with Tesla with some recommendations. And you're not going to believe this one story that I ran to a guy, out of all places, Buc-ee's, that explained a situation that he ran into up in Plattsburgh, New York, that has something to do with the solar eclipse. So let's get into it. Yesterday, when I was driving down to Florida, I stopped at Buc-ee's in Florence, South Carolina. And as I came out with all my bags of gear, and I actually bought a brand new Buc-ee's hoodie, I came up, and parked right next to me was a white Model 3 with Connecticut plates. And I said to the gentleman in the car, I said, "Hey, I'm from Connecticut too." And he goes, "I know, Dave." And enough said. So the rest is history. My new friend Norbert, I'd like to welcome him. He's actually on vacation in Orlando. Norbert, how's it going?
It's going great, Dave. Thank you.
Great. That was a lot of fun meeting you down in Florence, South Carolina yesterday. The rest of your trip, how did that go from there down to Florida, or down to Orlando?
It was super smooth. I had no issues. Charged perfectly fine every time, and got here pretty quick.
Right. And so, it's funny, you were telling me about the situation that you went up to see the eclipse the other day, and I ran into a situation yesterday in not Galveston, in Gainesville, Florida, where there was queue times and waiting, and it was a bit chaotic. And then it triggered my memory as to what you told me that happened. Tell me the story about when you took your Model 3. First of all, you drive what year Model 3 do you have?
It's a 2021 standard range before the LFP. So I have the nickel battery pack. Yep.
Okay, got it. So you decided to go see the eclipse. Tell me the story and what happened.
Well, we found the Plattsburgh Supercharger to be like a safe spot, so to speak, to watch the eclipse.
So this is you drove from Connecticut up to Plattsburgh, New York, which is almost at the Canadian border, right? Because that was where you're going to see the total eclipse of the sun, right?
Yes. So we wanted to be in the totality, and I was planning on being near a supercharger because I knew that if a lot of Tesla drivers are drying up to see the eclipse, I'm going to have most likely issues, or waiting for a charger. So I was going to either go to Plattsburgh or Burlington Supercharger, and planning on watching it either there or very close to the charger.
Right. And so how was the eclipse? Were you able to see it, or was it cloudy when you got there?
It was a little bit cloudy, but high clouds. So we saw the eclipse. It was amazing. It was a once in a lifetime thing. For sure.
No, that's great. That's great. And hopefully you didn't buy some cheapo sunglasses. You had the good ones, so you protected your eyes.
Yes.
All right, good. And so now, after you're ready to go home or whatever it is, tell me the situation at the Tesla Supercharger in Plattsburgh.
Well, basically, we pulled into the Supercharger, hoping just to top off before we head home. So this was before the eclipse. So when I pulled in, I saw a whole bunch of cars already around the charger. And as I pulled in, a gentleman walked up to me and asked me if I wanted to stay here and charge. I said, yes, that's why I came here. So
Yeah.
he said, well, we have a line and we have a queuing system that we came up with. And then you will be number 35 in line.
35?
35. So
Wow.
I'm number 18. I've been here for like an hour now. Number 12 was charging. I was like, okay, sure, it is what it is. I knew that I didn't want to take the ferry over to Vermont to the other charger to Burlington, because that would have been a nightmare probably. So I was like, okay, no problem. Just please hand me a piece of paper with the number on it. That's what he had. I put it on my windshield, and I had a small number that I put in my pocket just as a reminder in case I walk into the mall, which was right next to us. So that's what we did. And when I walked out, I asked the gentleman, so where are we in the queue? And he said, number 16 is charging now. I'm almost up. Do you want to take over this queuing role? I was like, sure, no problem, because I'll be here a while.
So he delegated the queuing, the whole management of the queuing to you. Just some random guy that pulled up. Okay. And where did these pieces of paper come from that people are putting on their cars?
So what he told me was that number 11 started the queuing, because, by the way, 8 chargers at Plattsburgh, 8 version 150s. One was broken. The actual plug was broken. The connector, we saw that. We checked it out, see if we could do something about it, but we couldn't.
Right.
Finicky. Every other car could charge. So I had guys pull up, plug in, no go. Okay, let's get the next guy in line. Let's plug in. No. Okay, let's get the... Okay, so they were charging. And that's happened to me too. I tried to charge at the charger when my number came up in a queue. I could not. So I got number 36 to pull up and plug in, and he was able to charge. But the papers, I believe number 11 went into I'm just going to call him number 11. I don't know his name.
Number 11. Okay.
Target, and I believe he got a bunch of printer papers from the register or or from the customer service. And someone had a pen and they just started writing numbers.
All right. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. And was everybody pretty cool with it? Or like they were fine with the process?
Yes, not surprisingly. I mean, most Tesla people I have encountered are like super nice people, and everyone was like surprised first of all. Maybe
right.
Not surprised, and then they just accepted their fate, and this is where we're going to watch the eclipse from, because most people low state of charge, and just got in line, parked. So I was watching the cars. See, the main issue was that this supercharger had 2 entrances to it, so I had to watch right and left where the cars were coming from and try to be fair, who got there first, and give out the numbers. And I missed a few because they parked kind of far away and walked up, and then asked for a number, because they saw me that I was running around in circles with a bunch of pieces of papers in my hand. So, yeah. So
that's unbelievable. Now, what do you think we would estimate the maximum number of cars that you saw while you were there, even while you were charging?
Well, so I was 3rd generation queue officer. Number 11 started it. Number 18 took over, and then he left. I was number 35. So while I was doing it, I handed out. I went up to number 89, I believe. I went up to 9, and then while my car was charging, I asked a very nice lady who was helping me during all this if she wanted to maybe take over, because I'm going to go park and watch the eclipse. And she was number 7. She was number 57, I remember. So she took over, and actually my wife helped write more numbers on the pieces of papers. And what we do, they were regular A4 size papers. We started running out of paper, so we asked the people what finished is see if we can have their paper back, and we started ripping them into 4 equal pieces. So the number, so that we could make more numbers. And I know I wrote numbers up to 120. I'm not sure how many were handed out.
Right.
when I looked around and I took a few photos, I believe at least 80 cars stayed and watched the eclipse from there.
Oh,
And, we left pretty quickly because we wanted to get on the road. But I estimate we went up to at least maybe even 100 cars.
unbelievable. Norbert, I really want to thank you for sharing your story. I know I want to let you get on with your day. I know you're heading over to Universal Studios and with your wife and your daughter, and I hope that they have shorter lines there than they did up at Plattsburgh, New York, for your benefit, because you my friend, I've dubbed you, you are now the Tesla Supercharger Q Master. That's who you are. And not only did you accept the responsibility from number 11, who handed it down to the next guy, but you actually delegated it as well. So you are not only labor, you are management. I'm proud of you. But this isn't going to work, right? We got to figure out a better way. What do you think? Before I let you go, what do you think is a better solution here?
So I was thinking about it while I was actually doing how could Tesla do this better, because all I saw on my screen that I knew I had to wait when I get to the charger. It went from 5 minutes to 15 minutes, and then it showed more than 25 minutes of wait. But as we talked about earlier, Tesla could do this GPS based. You know, as the cars are coming in, they could designate numbers. But the problem I saw is that the cars were coming from more than one direction. And I don't know how fast the GPS could update the positions of the cars. If they're coming in almost at the same time, there might be a problem assigning numbers fairly, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right. Although GPS can get extremely accurate, as you know, for lots of different reasons, primarily military based. However, I'm not sure how much is accessible to the consumer. However, if Tesla were to pay the premium to get the real accurate data, I think they could nail it pretty well. I think this is a problem that is it's sort of exacerbated by this whole eclipse situation where you had so many cars at one spot at a particular time. But as NACS opens up, as we start to see more vehicles, whether it's Ford and Rivian now, but additional brands of vehicles that are coming in, I really think it's Tesla's not opportunity, but I think it's Tesla's obligation to figure out a technological solution to this problem. And I'm not necessarily going to be the one to exactly figure out how it will work or what the etiquette will be, but hats off to number 11 and you for continuing what you did there to create sort of a little bit of order out of what was chaos. You guys embraced the chaos. You did it in a nice, orderly fashion. And I think Tesla can learn a lot from what happened up here in Plattsburgh, New York during the solar eclipse. I think it's their obligation, like I mentioned before, to do something about this, on their own and offer it out as a solution. I also think that other providers, charge point operators, such as Electrify America, should also learn from this video what they could be doing, because the problem when you're dealing with Tesla is there's a lot of cars, there's a lot of stations. But with Electrify America and other charge point operators, there's usually fewer units to charge at. Yeah. And oftentimes there's maintenance issues with those. So the problem only gets worse. I remember there was a time, Norbert, when Kyle was out in California, or maybe it was Vegas, and he was waiting for a charger. And some woman just pulled in when someone pulled out, and he was like 10th in line or something like that. And this woman, we'll call her, I think her name was Karen, although I'm not sure. And she pulled in and just cut the whole line and was like, hey, screw you, I'm here. And that was it. And, I worry that people won't keep cooler heads like it sounds like everyone in upstate New York did. And I'm proud of you for all of you for what you did. For those of you who are watching this video that took part in that, hats off to you guys. But I think it's time for us to hand the reins to Tesla. I'd love to hear anyone's ideas about what you think Tesla should do. Feel free to record a little video or send me an email, david@outofspecstudios.com. or record a little video, put it on a Google Drive and send it to me. And maybe I'll make a mashup of all the different ideas that people have out here, because sometimes the best ideas, they come from us, right? The users of the vehicles.
I thought I could record this quick video about my thoughts on the queuing at the superchargers. What I was thinking is that what if Tesla could assign you a queue number when you start navigation to that particular supercharger, because then they should know how many chargers are there, how many cars are en route, so they could assign you to a particular supercharger at that location. Let's say, 1A. Okay, so 1A, let's put 5 cars on 1A. You're gonna be number 5. Let's put 5 cars on 1B, 1C, and so on and so on. So you get your queue number when you start navigating to that supercharger. And then if someone decides to cancel navigation and reroute to a different supercharger, then maybe your number will click up in a queue, and actually that will encourage you to stay on your route, and then just keep going to the supercharger, and then you will have a better idea how much weight you'll have when you get there. And then or if another charger opens up quicker, then they can reassign you while you're waiting there. Just say, okay, 1C is about to leave, pull up when available, or something like that. All right, just my thoughts.
But I'll leave you with this one thought, Norbert. As I was driving down from Connecticut to Florida over the past day and a half, and I was using that FSD version. I don't know about you, but I used it 95% of the way down here, mostly obviously highway, but it was really quite amazing. And Kathy and I, we were listening to a podcast, not a podcast, a book about Elon Musk's life, and what he grew up with as a kid, and fighting with his dad, and wrestling with his brother, and always pushing his team to be able to deliver greatness, and the fact he wants to colonize Mars. And then I think about this, right? How simple a problem is this? And to think that Tesla can't solve this, I challenge you, Tesla. I know you can solve this problem. I'm 100% sure you can, because if people like Norbert and everyone who wanted to just go up to see the solar eclipse in Plattsburgh, New York, can put sort of order out of chaos, there's no doubt in my mind that if Tesla chooses to fix this problem, they will. With that, I'll give you the last word on this video.
Well, you're absolutely right. And what I was thinking is that, what if I had one bad egg pull in and wants to start the fight, or like just get out of control? What am I going to do? And I had quite a few people around me, and I figured, okay, we can maybe just band together and put them at ease, And the other thing I was about is that Tesla knew that this was going to happen. There's an eclipse. People are heading to that 120-mile wide band of totality. 50,000 of them maybe, or 60,000 in our case up in upstate New York. So there should have been measures put into place, like go out and check all the chargers, or do start this. Do you work for Tesla? And I said, no, not at all. We just started this on our own. So they could have put someone at the chargers and do this, like create a queuing system just for this one event.
Yeah. Yeah, and and that brings up a good point. Not only could they have potentially helped from a management of the problem and sort of just making sure everything was managed, but Tesla has remote charging trucks that they can remotely put around. And I know that in the past, in the holiday periods of time between Vegas and LA, they can sometimes put these extra charger units out there. Now, I don't know how they would do that across, the path of the eclipse for the totality, but I think that this particular sort of consolidation of all of these cars at certain Tesla superchargers along that route, it really does exacerbate the obvious problem that we are going to have as the adoption of more vehicles go electric. And so, listen, comment below if you can. I'd love to hear your suggestions. Send me an email, or even do a little video clip as far as what you think the solution that Tesla should be. I'll take all of those, assuming they're, keep them succinct. Maybe I'll put them all together and put up a suggestion video targeted at Tesla. Tesla, you're an amazing company. Electrify America. Anyone who is in the charge point operation, charge point operators business, I think should watch this video. Should think about this, because this is a customer service issue that is ripe for being fixed. And so, Norbert, thank you so much. What ride are you looking forward to today at Universal?
My daughter wants to do the Hulk, but I'm not sure if I want to join her on that one.
Yeah, not to say that Universal has this, but you remember Disney when they had the Fast Pass, right? And they had this queuing system, and it was an interesting thing because you could actually get a little piece of paper that would allow you to show up at between a certain time and a certain time, and you knew you could jump the queue, if you will, and get into a shorter line, and that was a creative solution that a major corporation came up with for excess demand for a particular service. And while there's many differences here because people are looking to get the energy as quickly as possible and get on with their way, I think that we as consumers and users of these vehicles, coupled with Tesla, we can solve this problem. I'm optimistic we can. So Norbert, it was fate that we met. I'm sure we'll hang out and maybe grab a beer up in Connecticut when we're both back up home again. Please say hi to your wife and your daughter. Stop working now, forget Out of Spec Dave, and go have some fun for the day. It's absolutely spectacularly beautiful down here. I don't know, for all you people up in Connecticut, please stay up there. We don't want you coming down to Florida because, the weather's terrible. It's like a hurricane down here. Just stay up there, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Norbert. Well, listen, you have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, my friend?
Thank you, Dave. Talk to you later.
Take care. Thanks again, everyone, for watching another episode of Out of Spec Dave. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye now.